Another day, another dollar, working my whole life away.
You know the drill. I got 4 no-limit hold'em hands for this month's hand histories, either at Central Coast Casino or Outlaws Casino. Starting off with Ace-King suited on the button, facing a raise to 20 from under the gun, and a couple of callers. I want to point out each player's stack sizes and the higher variability of them in these deeper stacked games. I am much deeper with every player besides the original opener, so that's kind of the most important player, whom has a very tight range that I'm slightly ahead of, but all worse hands he would fold if I decided to squeeze, specifically thinking of Ace-Queen, one notch lower. Making a raise in order for him to ship it in over the top, and possibly reopening the action back to me, a semi-bluff. Getting some better to fold, like middle pocket pairs, and pretty much no worse continuing, only ace-king or big pairs for this player type. The squeeze is for sure plus EV with the dead money, but I think it is slightly better to leave that play to offsuit varieties or when I'm out of position. Since all the action would be done pre-flop, the suitedness doesn't matter too much. But with the suitedness with money to play for, I don't want to waste the playability. Also in position, so I want to take advantage. I would also slow play in this scenario and just call with some big pairs as well. Pre-flop and stack sizes is what I wanted to specifically focus on during this hand. Flop is super dry and ace high. Facing a weak bet by the first cold caller, I go for value, which I think is incredibly likely to be a weaker ace, since there's no flop draws or likely 2 pairs. Turn is the same story, with the same result. I felt the river was no different, but the villain, who I call K, ends up folding ace-queen. Only that one notch lower, so betting with ace-king against this player on the river didn't seem to be a profitable play, since it's only getting called for a chop with ace-king or a better hand. I still like the line I took each street in general, targeting Broadway aces. Overall take-home message from this hand, pay particular attention to varying stack sizes. In this hand, I want to strictly focus on bet sizes. I raise as the button straddle to 60, and the blinds who completed fold, and I get the limper to come along to a super wet flop, bottom set. Plenty of second best that would pretty much call any reasonable size. I make it an even 100 for 3/4 pot. Thinking back, I think 140 would have been even better for a full-size pot bet. Turn is a great card, a queen, where we fill up. I still want to size up against queens and draws to get value, just not as big since they might be drawing dead with the paired board. 250 and get a call, making me disregard queens in his range, and seeing a straightening card in an offsuit 10 and a check. My thinking is villain most likely has given up, or possibly river to straight, and will call any bet, since he called all this way and most likely wouldn't fold after he hit. I slightly overbet the pot. He does end up making the call. Maybe a verbalized all-in on my part results in a fold and a loss of $1,000 for me, or perhaps it would have been a gain of the $90 that I left on the table. Next hand is actually against the same villain later in the night. Standard is as standard gets to the river, where a one-liner to a 4 comes in. To me, though, looks scarier than it looks, as not many straight draws with a 4 call the flop, and then just call the turn, and then check the river. 8-7 is the main straight draw, which missed and could be giving up, along with the spade draws that might have had a 4, but most do not. Targeting weaker kings with my small bet, and I succeed in getting some river value. Last hold'em hand now, with the flop decision as the only inflection point. In the under the gun straddle, short-handed facing a min raise and a call in the small blind, I make the $10 call, being in position on one player, and also closing the action to a flop of the nut straight, except it's a monotone flop. I bet right out, Great flop for my range, and I make it 50. See a call, and a huge overbet for a total of 550, all in. 500 more for me, into a pot of 700. Not the greatest odds. Not only that, but a player behind with a deeper effective stack. Looks to me like a weak flush, or maybe an ace of spades type of play. Could be drawing dead, or about a 2-to-1 favorite. Last to act, I would have made the call, but here, playing monkey in the middle, I make the perhaps weak fold. Should have thought more about the weaker hands that would do this, specifically ace-4 for the wheel. A call looking back seems like a slightly better play to me. The player behind, whom had the ace-jack with the ace of spades, makes the call and takes it down with a pair of aces on the turn. Jack-jack with a spade, no good. Just not a correctly played tough spot on my end, in my opinion. One for the bad guys this time. February Hold'em is in the books. My PLO and monthly result part of the vlog episode is out as well, if you want to take a look at that. Good luck to everybody in March.